Hey there, Eric Croft with Command Your Legacy. Thanks for tuning in. As you know, throughout this whole series, I've been talking to you about my process of coming back from my cancer surgery from testicular cancer in order to take my PT test. So basically, I've gone through the mental state, the background of what has taken place, how I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, the feelings and emotions that it took, how it took a toll on me, and really took me down and took me into a spiral that was putting me into a place where I did not like to be, I was not comfortable with. And then I took you into the rehabilitation of my mindset in order to build myself back up mentally, in order to get myself out of the hole that I was creating from this spiral. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the physical building in order to get to the test itself, the actual physical Army PT test. Up to the point of my diagnosis and my surgeries, I'd been getting pretty good results in my PT test. I was hitting the 90s, 90 percentiles, averaging 90%, give or take, on the PT test up until that point. Several times I'd actually maxed it out. But then when I hit this diagnosis of being of cancer, it really took me downhill. I went through 2 surgeries. First surgery was removing the testicle that had the cancer, which actually they had to dissect and figure out to ensure that I did in fact have cancer, which came back positive for testicular cancer. Because of that, I was able to detect it early to where the actions that were taken were not as evasive as many others that have been diagnosed with the same disease. There are others that are far worse than I was, or have come into contact with far worse conditions than I ever faced with this. So don't think that mine is, it's just a run-of-the-mill type diagnosis and recovery, because there are gentlemen and men out there that have far worse diagnosis than I do, that do not catch it as early as I did. I was one of the lucky ones. I had seminoma and non-seminoma, so which, at stage 1, which was a pretty early stage. So don't think that just because I caught it early and I had a quick recovery that this happens to everybody. It does not. But going through these surgeries, removing the testicle, and the second surgery, which is pretty evasive, 6-hour surgery of retroperineal lymph node dissection, they cut through my abs, right? So because of that, my physical ability in doing sit-ups and such and other things, which I'll talk about here in a second, it really impaired that by not having that core strength that I normally had prior to the surgery. It really took it completely out of me. So in order to get myself mentally past that mental state of saying, hey, I cannot let this own me, I had to take control. I owned it, it did not own me, and I had to make a choice in order to own the situation and get past it and move forward. The next state was my physical being, connecting my mind with my body, right? That's what I had to do, was get my mind right, and now I had to work on getting my body right. Now it is time for the physical aspect of that I'm going to talk about through this video. The mental change was in full motion. It completely set the tone for me to go forward. I had to coax myself into physical action by focusing on the steps in the organic process on getting started with this next part of my journey. I had to focus on that. The mental state was to get myself to say, you don't own it, or you own this, it doesn't own you. And then I had to get my mental state into another bigger picture, like I talked about in my next video. I had to think bigger. I had to think bigger in aspects of my physical being, saying, hey, this is just not where it stops, is mentally. It's got to be physically too. So I had to think bigger. I had to remember it was the small steps that I was taking that would get me to the big goal, right? It's supposed to get me to that big goal. I had to incorporate that will inside of me, that powerful me, to push me forward and create that discipline that I once had in my nutrition and in my workouts that I had prior to the first surgery. And I just had to bring that in and get back to that mental state, because in 2015, in May 2015, I was in the best shape of my life, right? what did I do to put myself there? I got rid of that chicken and jerk mindset behind me that I started grinding it out day in and day out, just like I did before. I was like, that was the only way I was going to be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, just grind it day in, day out. I was doing resistant workouts. I was doing cardio workouts. I was working in on my nutrition, meal planning, meal prepping, making sure I ate the correct portions, the correct type of meals, the proteins, the carbs, the starches. Put it all back together and put it back into place. I got into this and did not go one day without doing my workouts. The second surgery, that RPLND, I had 6 weeks of recovery. Day one after that 6-week recovery ended, I was hitting it. I was able to do 15 to 20 pull-ups, just pull-ups, prior to the very first surgery in May 2015. The day after my 6-week recovery, my second surgery, I could not even do one pull-up. Because I did not realize how much core strength it took, and my core had been completely ripped out of me. So I had to get my mental state, my physical state back into that. So I started doing pull-ups. I was doing pull-ups. I knew that I couldn't do one day. Guess what? I got back in the next day and I did it again. Because I knew that consistent small effort and small steps would get me to the complete goal. So now guess what I'm doing? It's 2017, right? I'm gotten myself to where I'm doing 15 to 20 pull-ups again, easily, and not even thinking twice about it. So July of 2015 was my second surgery. I had 6 weeks, right? So I had to go into April of 2016 for my next PT test. So I had to get myself prepared, mentally and physically. Mentally was already taken care of. The physical part was still there. It was still lingering. I still had doubts and fears of the fact that I could not get myself back into that type of shape I had, or that I was in, prior to May of 2015. And it hurt. It hurt so bad. I'm telling you, it hurt so bad to get myself back into that, because I'd last off because of the surgeries, right? I had no core strength at all, but I knew I had to build that back up. Even though it hurt as bad as it did, I still pushed forward. That powerful me pushed forward, and each day I got better. It felt better. It got easier. Each day it got easier because I was going in and grinding out, doing pull-ups. I was doing push-ups, doing HIIT training again, like I said earlier, and core work. I was not just doing sit-ups, because we all know doing the PT test, yeah, you do sit-ups, but what actually works on your core? You got your backside and you got your front core and your back core. All of that works in together in tandem, right? And on top of that, you got more than just one exercise of just sit-ups, of doing that type of core work. By doing this consistently in the small steps, my body was starting to respond. It was starting to build. It was starting to say, hey, I remember this. I remember doing this. So it got stronger and stronger each day. My mental state continued to improve each day, by each workout, by each day being strong, becoming stronger each day. My mental self continued to become empowered. Like I talked about in my last video, I was empowered by the actions I was taking. So these actions I was taking with my workout empowered me even more. And I wanted more of it because I was enjoying it. I remembered it. My body remembered it. And I continued to improve with each workout. So before I knew it, April 2016 was here. You can probably anticipate the worry that was in my head. Even though I'd been working out, it was like, okay, am I really strong enough to do this? 9 months after my second surgery, where they just ripped through my abs. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. Let's see what happens. I've been working out. I feel good. So let's do it. So I'm in line in the PT test, waiting for my turn. And I walk up, talking to the drill sergeant. I had drill sergeants actually doing my PT test that day, and got down there, knocking out push-ups, knocking out push-ups, knocking out push-ups. And I hit like 75 push-ups, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I just had surgery like 9 months ago, and I just knocked out 70 push-ups in this PT test. It's like, okay, I can do this, right? I can do this. So go back in line, wait the 10 minutes between events, And we all start working out, going again, sit up time. Okay, so here we go. I jump up. I'm sitting here talking to the drill sergeant. I'm like, hey, dude, I don't know how this is going to go. Guy holding my feet. I was like, you better hang on tight because I just had surgery like 9 months ago, and these guys had no clue about what had taken place. I just had surgery 9 months ago, had my abs completely ripped apart, and lymph nodes removed from my back. So I've been working on this. I have no clue how this is going to go. And of course, these guys are like in shock. They're like, you're taking a PT test after all that, 30 something stitches or staples in your stomach, and your abs ripped out, and the surgery, the invasive surgery you had, you're going to do this? And I was like, yes, we're doing this. Because my mental state was there, my physical state was there. I knew I was ready, especially after doing my push-ups. Time hit. Boom. I started going. I don't remember how many sit-ups I did. I mean, I know I got like anywhere, it was like close to 85-90% on my sit-ups. And those two, the guy holding my feet, soldier holding my feet, and that drill sergeant that had counted my reps, he was like, they were in a state of shock of what I just did. Granted, I was too, but at the same time, I was like, there it is. I'd gone through all this adversity that I had just endured, worked myself up to this PT test, and I knew because my mental state was there. I'd put myself into the position to where I could win at this point, right? So I'm sitting here doing these push-ups and sit-ups. And, it was that overall effort that I took, small daily steps to get me to where I was. And that was big for me. I mean, I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it. It was big for me because of May 2016, I'd had my first surgery, diagnosed with cancer, right? 1 year later, not even 1 year later, April, almost a year later, 11 months, I was taking a PT test and I was hitting those marks. That was a win for me. And that's what I'm going to talk about next time with you when we talk. So the last video of this is going to be about the win that was created throughout this whole process. I look forward to seeing you, and thank you for listening in. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.